G'day, welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time, please hit a thumbs up, drop a comment in below, subscribe, it all helps channel. Thank you. This is the Pedal Picassos. I'm Rod, and here we are with the Headrush Firmware Update 2.5. Dropped yesterday, and it's got some new features in it. Of course, 2 new amps, Roland JC-120 head, and a Gallien-Kruger bass head as well, both with matching cabs. New effects, an envelope filter, a resophonic delay, and a hold function. Tweaked the tracking on the tuner again a little bit more, and an update to the noise gate threshold on the input. Right, let's have a look at these first up. The Jazz Chorus. Right, very cool. So, this is the JC-120 by itself. As you would imagine, it has got all the inputs that the original amp had. So, you've got options for incredibly clean, right? The distortion on the amps themselves was never, part of the renown of the amps. There you go. Let's stick with pristine clean, because this is what these amps are good for. You've got chorus settings. The default setting is fixed, with the rate and the depth at 50%. We can turn the chorus off. Just a beautiful clean amp. There's reverb. There's reverb on this too. So dry, no chorus, no reverb. Just beautiful, crystal clean amp. Okay, the reverb itself. Usable, very usable. The beauty of it is you don't have to use up a block. You don't have to dedicate an effects block to reverb. You can have it set on the JC-120 here, use that, fantastic. Similarly, if you're wanting a chorus, you can have that set. Fixed. Manual. And of course it's stereo. You can turn the stereo feature off if you like. But why would you? I'm running stereo out of the Headrush into the door, nothing else, straight out of the Headrush. So that's very cool. Let's go back to a fixed chorus, reverb 35%. There we go. That's the JC-120. An envelope filter. Let's try that out. So we've got range and sensitivity, and you can see the graphic there as to what it's representing. Is that an old DOD? DOD, DOD. I'll delete it and then select it again and see what options we've got for it. So here we go. Select dynamic EQ. Is it envelope filter? No, it's modulation, of course. Here it is, envelope filter. No, it just comes standard as one setting, no presets. So, Oh, wow, wow. Getting that real synth range. Really, really maxing out the bottom end. Sensitivity right up. Sweet. All right, we'll turn him off because it's just maxing things out and maxing out the feedback protection on the door. The Rezo delay. Okay, this is a very cool feature because I'm playing an E major because I've got it set to E major. You can set it to any key, any mode, minor, major, chromatic, diminished. Let's have a look. So, there we go. You can set it to major, E major, where I've got it at the moment. The overtones are part of the key. So if I play in another key, we go to a minor. So when you get the feedback set up, you can hear how the artifacts are tuned. The artifacts are tuned. Sweet. Let's add that to the hold feature. So the hold function is very cool, and I've tried to build hold presets or freeze presets with the existing effects, and you can do, but to have this dedicated, let's see what we do here. There we go. It's on. Now, it took me a little while to figure out the hold, and although you can turn it on and off by touching, and it's already got a switch sign to it to switch it on and off, I find the best way to also utilize it is with the expression pedal. And I've got, you can just hear some there. And you can still hear some, all right? But I can noodle in my heart's content over the top of this. My expression pedal is controlling the level. If I want to turn off that held note or chord or pad or whatever it is, I have to come back to the switch. There we go. And if I want to engage another held chord or sustained pad, it's... Cool? I think so. Righto, what else have we got here? We've got we've got some fun with all of this. A big game changer is being able to assign more than one scene to one switch, which is huge for the MX5 users and Gigboard users, where you're limited to 3 switches in the MX5 case and 4 switches in the Gigboard. So in this scene, I've got 2 different loops assigned to switch 1. So the green loop goes through the top row of pedals, and the red loop goes through the bottom row of pedals. So I'm using the hold function again. I'm using the Rezo delay, and we'll see what happens here. All right, so we've got a sustained chord. I've got the Rezo delay, but I don't want to be playing over the top of this with that effect, right? Don't. Change my loop. Fun for days. Let's have a look at the bass rig on offer. The bass rig is a Gallien-Kruger 400R. All the wallop of a bass amp. I'll turn the bass amp off so just you can hear the guitar going through the octave pedal. In fact, I'll turn the octave pedal off. This is the guitar. Dry. Octave pedal. The octave pedal is, of course, based on the Boss OC1, OC2. Going through the Gallien-Kruger now. Wallop of an amp. Bass players unite, great. You've got some new kit in Firmware 2.5. The input level default setting for the gate, the noise gate, is minus 120 dB. I know when people new to the platform would pull it out of the box and it's set at about minus 60, about halfway on a high gain setting, you just lose your signal. They're going, wow, where's my signal gone? It just cuts off. It just cuts off, right? So you can now adjust that to taste. So it's actually wound out. I'll build a rig so you can see what we can do with scenes. So new rig, I'm going to bring in let's say JCM800, lead 800, CS mod, lead 800 bright, that'll do. And then I'm going to bring in here the new JC-120. Here's a tip too, if you load in the new firmware and you can't find these new amps, which is the 83-400R, that's the Gallien-Kruger bass amp, and the 84J120H, which is the Jazz Chorus 120 emulation, they weren't on this list. I had to go and pull them down. I'll show you where I pulled them down and saved them from, so that then they do appear in the list afterwards. Yes, that's it. Exactly what we want. There we go. Okay. So as I said, this didn't appear straight up. I had to go into the models and actually select it from here. But anyway, we digress. So we can now assign one pedal to do 2 scenes, and we do it thusly. Hardware assign. Switch 1 is going to be scene. We edit the scene. And we've got the option of scene 1 or scene 2. So let's have a look. Hardware assign, scene 1. We're going to put on amp 2. on, cab 2, and then amp 1 is off, and cab 1 is off. Scene 2 is going to be amp 2 off, amp 1 on. Right, so you can see right now my switch has got 2 colours, scene 1. Now we're going to relabel that because it's got 2 scenes. So hardware assign, I'm actually going to call it amp. So amp selection, Marshall. Amp selection, JC-120. How cool. Let's do this and set. I'm going to set green distortion, light. I'm going to set a clon, light, and I'm going to move these over so I can put a reverb at the end. Concert hall. Sweet. I'm going to assign my drives and my reverbs to the other pedals. Hardware assign on, K drive on, and then this one is going to be reverb on. Sweet. So now I have my Marshall tone with 2 drives and a reverb. Right, so now I have one switch which is going to control my amp selection, but it's also going to control the whole scene. So it's 2 scenes in one. So I've got a clean JC-120. And in fact, I'll turn the reverb off it. So go to, this is amp 2, hardware assign, edit, scene 1 and 2 on switch 1, and turning off the reverb. So now that when I select the green amp selection on the pedal, I've just got the JC-120. Select the next one. I can assign that reverb to be on with that Marshall, which I will right now, just through this one scene change. So we're on the Marshall, on, and Marshall is, reverb is on. So if I go to the clean setting, the reverb is off, except for the reverb on the JC-120. Go to the Marshall setting. Fun and games all day. All right, there you have it, the firmware update 2.5 for Headrush. You've got the envelope filter, you've got the Rezo delay, you've got the hold function, you've got 2 new amps, the JC-120, and you've got the Galleon-Kruger. A couple of other tweaks as well. Please hit subscribe, let us know how you Headrush, and thanks for joining in.